Welcome back to this lecture. So in this lecture we're going to create the background color changer application. So let me show you the application that we're going to build in this module. So this is the application. Whenever I click on the web page, so you can see it's actually going to change the color randomly. So this is the application we're going to build in this particular module. So the first step is we need to start with the HTML part of the project. So you can see here I have already created the three files inside the Visual Studio Code. The first is index.html, the second is the style.css, the third is the script.js file. And I have already launched the application inside my web browser. So already I have linked the link tag, which is the style sheet code, and then also I link the script for the JavaScript code. So the first thing is we need to specify a one container, and then inside of that we need to place one h1 element, as you can see in the final version of the application. So here first I am going to place a container and pressing the tab key, and inside of that we are going to place one h1 element, which is the background color changer. Okay, so that is for the HTML part of this particular project. It is a small application that we are going to build in this entire module. So this particular application will teach you how you can change the body element color. Okay, so the next step is we need to start with the CSS part of the project. So to start with the CSS part of the project, we need to use the style.css file. So instead of that, first we need to reset the universal selector. So I'm going to change the margin to 0, which we have done in many of the application in this particular course. Then the padding, it is also going to be 0. And then I need to use the box sizing. So box sizing is going to border box. Once I did that, then you can see the default styling of the browser is actually changed. The default margin and padding is removed. Next we need to select the body element. So we are going to use the body, and instead of that I'm going to use the display to flex, and then the justify content is going to center, and after that I need to use the align items to be center. Then this particular is actually at the center of the screen, and then we need to use here a height, so that our text will actually appear at the 100% view height, which is 100 VH. If I say now, you can see the text is actually at the center of the browser screen. The next we need to provide the style sheet for the container. So instead of that I'm going to use the font family. You can apply the font family to body element as well, but I'm actually using here a font family to this particular container. If I control save it, then you can see now the font family is changed, means the font of the container is changed because the h1 element is present inside the div container. Okay, so now the font is actually changed. Then you can add a basic style to the h1 element. This is just for the demonstration purpose. This should be the first application of the course, but I just actually want to build this to showcase you something, because there is another application that we are going to build in this course. So this particular project laid down the foundation, means set up the basic part of the particular project that we are going to build in this module, which will be the 8th or maybe the 9th project of this course. Okay, so inside of the h1 element I'm going to use the font size. So you can increase the font size as per the needs. I'm going to use the 1424 pixel to actually reset the default styling of the h1 element. Okay, so you can now, after setting the style of the background color, you can change the color to this particular as well if you want, but I'm actually leaving it as it is. So the next step is we need to start with the script part of the project, which is the background color changer application. So to work with the script part, we need to use the script.js file, and inside of the script.js file, first we need to create a constant variable for the body, because we want to change the color of the body. So I am going to name the variable as body. Then we need to use the document, which is a document container, which is a DOM document. Then we need to set the body, and after that we need to create a listener to this body, means we need to add the listener to this body. So we want to handle the click listener, so here I will be using the add event listener, and instead of that I will be passing here a click listener, click, and then we need to pass here a function name, or you can say that the callback. So I'm going to here use the callback name, which is change background color. So this is the function we need to create. So after terminating, now it's time to create this particular function. So this is going to be our change background color, and starting the body of the function. Instead of that we need to create one variable, which is a random color. We are again going to use the random function of the JavaScript to create the random color. So there is going to be const, and then we need to use here a random color, the variable name random color is equal to, then here we need to create another function which is get random color. Okay, so this function will actually be responsible for the creation of the random color. So we need to create this function here again, function, and then use here a get random color. Actually I have named here a function wrong, which is color, and then remove this one. Again we get random color, then starting the body of this particular function. Once we get the random color to this variable, we need to set it to the HTML element. So the HTML element is our body, which we have created a variable at the top of the file. So it is going to update the style, and then we need to change the background color property. So it is going to be like background color, and then it is going to equal to random color, the variable name that we have used here, random color. So this is the variable name we have used here. Now we need to generate the get random color. This function will does what? It's going to give us a hexadecimal code, like a 6-digit hexadecimal code, like FFF0C and D or 1. So this will be the hexadecimal code that will be used for the generation of the color. So we are going to use only this way to actually change the color of the background. Even you can use the RGB function as well if you want to use, or you can use colors name. Those color names can be put inside the array and then call it inside this particular get random color function, which is another approach. You can use it, but I am actually using the hexadecimal way to change the background color whenever I click on the web page. So for that we need to create here a variable which is like a const letters. So this letters it's going to be stored in a string variable. Now we have actually 16 hexadecimal 0 to 9, and then from where the 2 digit came out, then it is going to be like A, B, C, D, E, F. So I'm going to copy these 16 characters because I'm not going to just simply pasting it here, because I'm not going to type it to actually. So I've actually pasted here a code. The reason I pasted it so that I can save a little bit of the time. So after getting these 16 characters, we need to generate a random color, but we also need a variable which is let, and this is actually going to hold a main color. So this is going to store a string character because we need to precede it with the hash character in front of these particular, because these 6 characters are generated randomly by using this particular variable, and we need to precede it with the use of this hash character. We need to place this at the front of the string. Then it is actually a string, so for traversing, or you can say that if we want to randomly generate the character, we need to use a for loop because it is actually a traversable, because the index is starting from 0 and goes up to 15. So for that we need to use here a for loop. So for, not font face, it is actually a for loop. Then we need to start the body of the for loop. Inside of that we need to create a variable which is a counter variable. So we are going to use here a let variable because the value of the counter is going to be changed many times. Then after that we need to provide here a terminator, then I variable, then we need to provide the condition, and then we need to provide here a 6, and then we need to terminate it, and we need to increment the counter variable value. Now here I have specified the 6, that is because we need only 6 characters. So here we have used here a 6 value. The reason for that, because we want to generate 6 random characters so that we can create a hexadecimal color notation so that we can change the background color. If you use here a 5, then it's going to only generate the 5 random character. If you use here a 2, then it's going to change only the 2 random characters. Okay, so this particular is used. If you use here a 7, which is not required because the hexadecimal is only work for the 6 variables. If you use here a 7, then it is not going to change the color. Okay, now instead of that we need to provide the logic. So the logic is like very simple. We need to use here a color variable, then the short syntaxing property which is the plus and equal to, and then we need to assign it with the use of the letters. So it is going to be have a letters, and inside of that we need to generate a random index. If I terminate it, so inside of the array brackets we need to generate a random index. So I'm going to use here a math. So math.floor. So floor is used to get a nearest possible whole number, and then we need to use a math.random function. So math.random. So we need to multiply this random function with the value of the characters. So we want to generate the values, so we are actually multiplied with the 16. That is why I have specified here a 16 value, because we want to generate a random number between 0 to 16 only. So after that, every time when this iteration runs, it's going to generate a one random character and assign it to this color variable value. Already this color variable has a value of this hash character, So it's going to actually store the hash character along with the new generated character. So I'm going to use here a console log statement so that I can show you inside the log of the browser when we click on it on the web page. So here I need to pass the variable which is the color. So after doing this, just we need to control save it. Now this function is going to return. So we need to provide here a return because we are directly setting the value inside this random color variable. So we want to return something because we are not printing anything inside this particular get random color function. So here we need to use the return keyword, and what we want to return, we want to return a color variable, the values that are changed inside the color variable. After saving it, if I just completely come back to the web browser, if I click it, then you can see the color is now changing. If I refresh it, also I'm going to maximize the browser window. If I click it, then you can see color is changing. So if I just show you the developer console by pressing the F12 key, then you can see now this color is generated. If I refresh the page, if I click on the first time, so that you can see first time it is actually generated by 3, and you can see the hash character is also stored with the newly generated character, and we only start to store these 6 characters. If I change the logic here, like if I just use here a 3 and save it, and if I just simply here like click on it, then you can see it's going to still change the color but only with the 3 characters. Still it's working. But if I place here like 7, if I come back here and if I just here change this 7, if I click it, then you can see now the color is not changing because the hexa color decimal notation is only used and work with the 6 digits. Alright. So again coming back to this is the final application. So here we need to change it to 6, and if I save it, come back it, and if I change it, then you can see now the application is working fine. So now the application is working fine. That is for this particular project. If you like this course, then please leave a review because your review definitely going to help me to increase the quality of my courses and also the future courses. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next lecture. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next lecture.